welcome to our house. Come on in. I should call it an apartment because it really is an apartment. It's all of 900 square feet. We live here in beautiful Monterey, California, and I just wanted to give you a quick little tour of our home so you can see where the other half lives. This is Grand Central Station. This is the home of Rockstar Marketing, and this is where I do all of my creative work. I write content for blogs. I write content for SEO landing pages on websites. I create all kinds of cool emails. Pretty much everything writing goes. I do it right here. I have my Mac. I have my blue microphone, and this is it. And of course, you can tell it's a working office, right? Because, well, I really do live and work here. So let's show you the rest of the house. If you come over here, you get to see our living area. This is where our landline is. This is where we like to eat and watch YouTube videos. When we have guests, we don't have a spare bedroom, so they get to sleep on our loving couch. And we also have a blow-up mattress and very comfy pillows. This is what I like to call my queen's chair. Sometimes I'll read or feel inspired to just kind of take a chill pill and relax. Got my exercise ball over here. Lots and lots of books. I love to read. And speaking of loving to read, here are some books here. Then, if you stand right here, you'll see the entire apartment. So like right here, you can see the entire thing. You've got Rene's room, you've got the bathroom, you have the linen closet, you have our bedroom. And no, this is not forbidden. Come on in. So it's just a modest little place, but I just wanted to show you. Please excuse the dirty windows, but this is our view of Monterey Bay. And the sun is setting right now, so we have a beautiful view of the beautiful sunlit sky as the sun is going down. And this is just our happy place. So here's our bedroom. And then we're gonna save Rene's room because I'm gonna have him give you a tour of that. But come on over here. Here is our cute little kitchen. It's tiny, but we love it. And I love all my plates and glasses, and I love to display them. We don't have doors on our cabinets, so it's an open display. Yes, it gets a little dusty, but I don't care. I just absolutely love being in our kitchen. It's tiny, but it functions. And then this is the piece de resistance, is that it? This is our dance studio. So if you come on in here, you'll get to see where it is that we dance. And we teach private lessons in here. We have our sweet little motivational signs to keep people motivated. We have our mirrors here. We have the West Coast Swing standard pattern of rhythm. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Repeat. And so I'm going to save Rene's man cave and working studio for him. But welcome to our home. And now you get to see what's going on. All right.
Hey, it's me, Rene. We're gonna leave the dance room, our garage, where Jen was explaining where we do lessons and where we teach, we practice our moves. So we're gonna go back in through the house here, passing into the kitchen, going into the living room, going into the hallway, and you get to go into my hub of creativity, which is always, if I'm lucky enough, I have the wonderful Princess Greya here at my side, hanging out with me. So say hi, Grey Grey. Oh, good girl. So this is my studio where I do all of my creative work, and it's not very large, but it's perfect just for what I need to do. So I do everything in here from my painting, my drawing, graphic design, video editing. There isn't much in here that is not designed to keep me occupied and entertained. So let's start here with my comic book collection. And there's a bit of clutter in front of it. Although there was more clutter several months back, but I just recently cleaned it up. But if you take a look at this right here, my wife Jennifer bought this for me for my birthday. It was a surprise gift. And thank you, baby. I love this. Every time I see this, every day. This has some of it has most of my comic book collection in here. So I have some pretty cool stuff in here. All of these are pretty much full. And I love it. Like I said, this is like a wall of creativity for me, or a font of information or inspiration. And for me, this is just symbolic of like kind of who I've been since I was maybe 10 or 12, which is always a creative type inspired by comic books. And my journey in art has always been because of what's behind here. And so I keep this here as a reminder, but it also just serves to give me inspiration every now and then to look back and just kind of catch a whiff of all these pretty cool comic books. Everything else in here is kind of derived from comic books. So if you look up here, you'll see some graphic novels, art books, various things here. Here's an old comic book, really old comic book, Avengers #8. You have my own comic book, which I did a few years back. Have some copies there. I have some of my my merchandise here. I have these drawstring bags, which are kind of starting to take off. I just kind of introduced these this year. But this is some of my merch here. I have some large mouse pads here, desk mats. A gift from a friend here, this Millennium Falcon, which is really cool. Thank you, Eric, if you're watching. This was an awesome gift to myself and for Jen as well. Moving along, you have an easel here, which I haven't painted in quite a few years, I have to say, in terms of like traditional, but one of these days maybe I'll get back to that. But this is a pretty cool easel. This is some of my gear that I use for filming and shooting video. So in there is like, the lights, the umbrellas, the soft boxes, and various photography or video shooting equipment. This here is a dresser, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have clothing in it. In fact, it actually has junk or some of my old art. It has art supplies, extension cords. It's just kind of like a utility type of box here that I use to keep some tools and old artwork in. Again, more graphic novels, more cool stuff here. This is actually technically my second workstation. I have here where I generally will work on my iPad. I work also on a Mac as well. This is a Mac Pro, which is a recent addition to the studio here. This monitor actually goes back a ways. I had it when I was using an old PC several years ago. When that died, I got a Mac, which is not this Mac. We'll get to that later. But this is pretty much my workup, my station setup here. I work digitally nowadays for the most part, doing my paintings or my comic books. In here, just some old school supplies, traditional media that I might get back to, drawing and painting. If we kind of pan more to the right here, you'll see just more inspiration. You'll see all these talking toys, well, these figures and whatnot, but these kind of talk. And that's Galactus right there. So this is pretty cool here.
No need to be so bossy.
I got it, Rocket. So check this out. I'm not going to show you what's in here, but this is where I store my clothes.
I told you I had a plan.
Exactly. Okay. Couldn't have timed that even perfectly. Okay, so here's more books, reference. This is like how to draw, how to paint. This is also like inspiration, like, different types of artists that I follow. Different books here on the making of, different movies. I won't mention them, but they'll be in the video. A lot of different things here. Some stuff that I used to like really rely on back before the internet, because before the internet, I had all these books on figure drawing, human anatomy, light, painting, animals, facial expressions. All of this stuff now is now all online, and I can, at the touch of a fingertip or at the swipe of a finger, I can grab what I need in like seconds. But these books are still good, because when the power goes out, guess what's gonna reign? Print, baby. So from here, we're gonna go on to the right a little more. Your camera we'll pan to the right. This is my first workstation, and I say first because technically this was the Mac that I purchased to replace my old PC, which is somewhere down here. Yeah, there's an old Asus computer down there. I still have it because it's I don't know. I just like having it. But this is the main workstation. This is my iMac. This is the printer where I make all of my limited edition and regular prints for my artwork. So everything's being done here. These are my planners. This is a daily planner here that I have. As you can see, I have pretty much tabs for every month of the year. And I've been keeping track ever since I went freelance this year, since January 1st. I've had this, and it's helped me to kind of keep things, keep my schedule, keep me on schedule. And then I have a daily list here, or my work list. And I incorporated it into an actual little notebook here because I found it easy to have a record instead of sheets. So all this here is this is my to-do list. And it's just continuous. I call this my diary. And if I look back on here, I can actually go back until March 19th of 2019 when I first implemented this. So about 3.5 months or so into the year, I realized, I need my to-do list, and this is it. This has been it. So that's this tool here. Like I said, this is my primary graphics station. This has basically, both machines have both, my creative tools on there. But this tends to kind of win out just because I like the way this is set up. It's an all-in-one. It's my iMac. It's the large version. I forget what year it is. And then you just basically have, the end right here kind of rounding out. I have supplies in here, mostly painting supplies. So when I do decide to get back into traditional painting, there's all the brushes right there. And I think here you've got, all the different support mediums for oils or for acrylics. And my Insane Watch collection. Yeah. Tony Stark, I'm not. Yeah. Butamus, okay. And I think down here is just more junk. Oh, and by the way, there's more comic books in here. So the cat actually hangs out on top of these comic boxes, and there's still, this has more inspiration. I'll never run out of inspiration for comics. I even forget what's in here. Oh, look at this. Before streaming, there was CDs. So check that out. And I have an old game system in there too. I have like a Nintendo, I think that's a GameCube. Which might be kind of fun to break out and play one these days. But this is it. This is my studio. My wife likes to call it the man cave. And, there are no roses and flowers in here. It's all dude stuff. Or I should say, all the stuff I like. So this is my studio. This is where the creativity happens as far as my art, my painting, and graphic design work, and I spend a lot of time in this room. So, welcome to my den.
Hi everybody, I'm Jen.
Hi, I'm Rene.
And we're married.
Welcome to our third episode.
Yeah.
So today we were kind of started off the episode with giving a tour
Yeah.
of basically our home, but also our working spaces. So we started out with, you saw the video, so I guess we can kind of elaborate on how our work's been with regards,
How this week was?
Yeah, with regards to everything, with our
It
work.
was a crazy busy week. Oh my goodness. Okay, so last Monday, I got a text from the ASCCA Chapter 99 meeting, and they said, "You're coming tomorrow, right?" And I thought that it was the week the week following. So Renee and I had to get our act together and drive up to Reading to give a presentation about marketing to this auto repair association, and it was fantastic. It ended up being really perfect, but man, it was like, woo, that's a long drive from Monterey up to Reading. And we were lucky that we got to stay the night with some friends of ours who were fellow dancers. Shout out to Caitlin and Jacob up in Chico. hosting us at their place, and it was fun because we got to meet Chapter 99 of ASCCA, and all those people are just fantastic, and got a few new clients out of that, and then returned home and then caught up on all the work that we were expecting to do, but we had to travel. And then I had another really awesome thing that happened. When I was in Houston a couple weekends ago, I met with a 20 group full of wonderful people, and I sold a lot of my books, What Dancing Taught Me About Running a Successful Business. And Bear, he bought a book, and then he told me that in a very sweet email that he was going to use my book for his next team meeting, and he did, and it was a success. So he ended up buying 8 more of my books, so each team member could have a book and then be in charge of leading the team meeting every week with a new chapter. And I was just so tickled. So I got to send off 8 new books to Bear and his team up in Montana. And we also went dancing on Saturday night at the Santa Cruz Swing Club dance. So it was an epic week. It was a very, very epic week.
I think it was pretty busy with the travel.
Yeah.
Going up to North California.
Northern California, yeah.
True Northern California.
We think that we're Northern California, but in all truth, here in Monterey, we're like the Central Coast. And to the Northern Californians, we look like we're Southern California, so we're not. But California is a big state, and when you start driving that state, you realize how big it is. And when we were coming back on Wednesday, the 23rd, that was when the fire in Sonoma started. So we missed that
yeah. Is
because
that what we saw?
we weren't going through that.
But we saw some other plume.
But this
smoke.
week has definitely been a week of power outages here in California in certain spots. Here in Monterey, we were fortunate that we did not get affected in the city of Monterey.
That's right, because when we went dancing in Santa Cruz actually had a power
Outage.
Controlled power outage. I don't know what the term is, but
Yeah.
we were dancing in the dark.
We kept dancing though.
With nothing but the emergency lights on at this
And
senior center.
the battery powered boombox with the music. So we dancers we won't stop. We even had a period where there was no music because somebody was running to their house to go get the boombox. So we were just dancing with no music.
Yeah, we
It was
got
fun.
there,
We
the
didn't
lights
care.
were on, it was working,
Yeah.
but then like 5 minutes, like the power went out, and so that's when I broke out my phone and we were just dancing. But like I said, the emergency lights were on, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But it was actually kind of fun dancing.
It was fun
like that.
actually. It was
Yeah.
fun. It was like
So I think after that Saturday night, we went home. Sunday was just a chill day.
chill day.
Didn't do much.
Went
and
to
then,
church, cleaned the house,
Yeah, just
did laundry.
and
slept
then it's Monday today,
Yeah.
so
Full week.
a full week had gone by.
Yeah.
So it was pretty pretty calm because Jen's gonna be traveling again this weekend.
Yeah, I head out for Newport Beach for Lisa Nichols' Speak and Write conference, which I'm super excited about. I love Lisa Nichols. I have been to several of her events. I'm a huge fan, and she always fills my cup with amazing information about how to be a better public speaker, how to promote my books better, how to serve better. It's just really exciting. So Rene, you're going to take me to the airport up
Yes.
in San Jose on Wednesday afternoon, and then I don't get back home until Monday, and then it'll be just in time for me to do our next podcast.
Yeah, if we do one on Monday.
Yeah, we should do it. We should
be
do
able
it.
to
That way we
Yeah,
can
you can talk
definitely-
about your weekend.
Definitely
I think
summarize
that
the week.
podcast is going to be the Jen show because she's going
I
to have
don't know about
all
that.
kinds of things. I think the only thing I have going on, well, I'm always working. I'm always doing my
Yeah.
art or if it's client work, I'm doing something like that. So I think it'll be a pretty quiet weekend for this weekend, all things considered. So, I get to go. I get to spend a lot of time in the man cave, which you saw, which is behind the camera.
Yeah, behind the camera.
So I'll stay busy. I'll stay busy regardless. But I'm sure we'll chat. You'll give me the lowdown.
There's a lot going on with your art, though. Why don't you share with them some of the cool things that happened on TikTok, and then also too what you're doing for Hold On Studios,
So I'm doing work for Hold On Studios, which is a company that's
a
a
gaming
virtual
company.
gaming company here in Monterey.
Virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality. It's a startup, and they're friends of ours, and we're helping them out.
Yeah. So I'm just doing some artwork for a game that. So there's a art production manager who's giving assignments, and so I'm working on a background for this, what I believe is going to be a slot game.
Yeah,
of
slot
some-
machine game.
Yeah, that they're developing.
You can do from your phone.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You know, that keeps me busy. I have another job that I'm doing that's going to be for this one existing client. That's a pretty fun theme, and it's more along the lines of kind of like a racing theme.
Oh, yeah.
And so that'll be fun. So I can't talk much about that, but it's just something that will challenge my artistic skills, because this one particular client, you know, he comes up with these ideas, and I love them, and they're fun.
They're super fun.
But they do. I
He's
shouldn't
a genius.
say. But they keep me on my toes, and that's kind of fun because that keeps me interested.
Yeah.
So that
yeah.
means I'll be able to do some research to have this project to work on and get that, you know, off the ground for him.
Right.
Outside of that, I continue to just
And TikTok.
make more work and continue to post stuff to social media, making use of what I know as far as how to post on Instagram and then on TikTok as well. So I, you know, just been posting consistently, and even on TikTok trying to figure that out, kind of see how that works, because you only have about a minute to put a video on there, and so the only thing I really want to share is just my art, because that's kind of that's what my creativity is, and that's what I like to do, and that's like genuinely what I'm doing. Like, you know, I don't make art so I can put it online.
You make art for
but
yourself.
I make art because number one, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
You know, being able to put it on whatever app is kind of like a bonus and can help me spread my word. But yeah, sure, also to you know, make some fans or to have some people, you know, comment or critique or whatnot. I'm all good with that. And from there, you know, you just see how it grows. So I posted a video, I think it was actually today that I posted. I made the video over the weekend, but admittedly over the weekend I was a little tired, because it can be kind of tiring creating the artwork and then if you're filming it and then putting it
Editing
online
it.
and doing a little bit of editing, and it's nothing massive, but there is a certain rhythm to making art that when
Yeah.
you're making it and you stop that to do, you know, like a recording or to do a video edit to post it, it disrupts your artwork. But, you know, hey, I get to do that, so that's fine. But I had one video that I posted that I created, like I said, over the weekend, that I noticed today had like a massive, massive for me in terms of like views and even likes with the TikTok platform. So it was pretty cool because I went.
Yeah.
I think I basically.
It's your first viral video.
Yeah, and it's nothing large by any means. It was like
But it's-
1,400,
it's
but it was
still-
pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to see an uptick, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, they really like this. What did I do differently in this one?
And I think also more than just like having likes, it was like there was the
a lot of comments.
The comments, yeah, that was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. So and when you see stuff like that, you just like it makes you want to put more out there.
Yeah.
Which
It's like,
is,
ooh, they saw me, they heard
Yeah.
me, they like my stuff.
But if no one comments, it's just like, oh well, just keep making art and keep putting it out there.
Well, sure, but it's just nice when you hear, you know, people comment about how talented you are, because you are.
Thanks.
So you brought up something that I thought would be a really cool topic to discuss today, and that is getting in the flow and procrastination and writer's blocks or creativity blocks. Because since this week was so crazy for me and I had to travel a lot, I wasn't in my normal rhythm of writing. And I did get all of my stuff done. I always do, because I have deadlines, right? But man, there were a couple of days where I had this one project. I had to write 10 SEO pages. And I wanted to do it on Wednesday, and I was too tired to do it on Wednesday. And I wanted to do it on Thursday, and I couldn't do it on Thursday. And then I wanted to do it on Friday, and it was like, ugh. And I was struggling because I found myself getting on TikTok. I knew that this project was big, and I knew I needed to like get my whole rhythm going into it, but I was just so caught up on catching up on other things. It took me,
Well, you were gone for 2 days.
and I was gone, so it was a little harder, but like I really had to work hard to get into my zone. And if I recall, oh, that's right, we had a birthday party to go to on Friday night.
Oh, that was fun.
And I wanted to get my work done before the birthday party, but I just couldn't. So I forced myself, after we got back from the birthday party, which was around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I was like, I will not go to bed until I have written 5 out of the 10 pages. And so I just did it. And what happened was that I got 9 out of the 10 pages done. Pat on the back, right? But I was just like, I am not going to be spending my whole weekend kicking myself over this thing. I have other things to do. So I just kind of like got in there and just burrowed myself and just did it until I literally was done, because I was just so exhausted. I couldn't do that last.
You were literally done.
I was literally done. Like I was just fried. I was
Tired,
like,
yeah.
I was like,
Spent.
I've done 9 out of 10 pages. I've written an outline for the 10th page. Mañana. And I did. And then I ended up finishing, and I polished things up, because since I was so tired, I was making a few mistakes. And I was going through it on Saturday going, yeah, okay, yeah. And then I was able to crank that out. And then I was able to jump into the next project that I also was like, okay, got to get this done. Because I want to thrill and delight my clients. I really want them to just absolutely love what I do. And I find that when I do everything in a rhythm, in a schedule, I perform much better and my stress level is down. But when I butt up against a deadline and I procrastinate too much, I start having a freak out and my work is not the best. So I try, in spite of myself sometimes, to get everything done ahead of time, or at least on time, right? I don't really like that rush of the last minute, because it's just hard. It's hard on me, and I just don't feel good. So you were in this rhythm of like creating and then editing and then posting, and it's each a subset, right? What do you do whenever you are not into it or you're distracted? Like I sometimes give him a list of honeydews, honeydew list. Yeah. And so, how do you get over it? Do you just buckle down, or what are your...
It's hard to describe it, because I like all those things that I do, even though like the editing, the video editing, which is new for me because I've learned to do it for Rockstar Marketing. And it's something I had only in the past just touched upon. So it's kind of new, but it's still to a point where I have a proficiency, and when I have a proficiency in it, it's still like I enjoy doing it, and I do enjoy making it, doing the videos. So when it comes to kind of segmenting my process, when it comes to documenting my art, I still, I'm pretty amped up of how I can create a video in the same way that I'm creating art. Because to me, it's like all creating art, right? The only time I get tired is like, it is from sheer physical exhaustion. I would say that I don't really get mentally exhausted, which sounds like maybe that's what you're facing.
Because of writing, I get mental exhaustion.
And you can get exhausted from that, or if you're an artist like myself too. And like the reality is like, who can really work for 2 or 3 or 4 hours at a stretch?
Yeah.
Maybe 2. I think personally the longest I've worked like sitting down, like actually like drawing something, it may not really amount more to like more than 2 or 3 hours.
Right.
Even though some of my paintings have taken me 30 or 40 hours to complete, that's not to say that, okay, Rene, you have, here are 3 days, 40 hours in 3 days. The math adds up, but physically, mentally, I can't do that. So, but oftentimes it's because I physically just I just give out.
Right.
I'm tired, so I need to walk away. But the moment I come back, like I want to do it. I would say though that if I'm distracted, because I do work, my own studio here from home, there's plenty to be distracted by.
Oh yeah.
So whether
Kitchen-
it's
the
emails,
dishes in the sink?
Well, actually, I have something to say about that.
Oh.
The distractions are all concerning the interaction with how I do what I do, which is all on this thing,
Oh.
or this thing. So really, to be distracted by anything that is related comes from that, whether it's email, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, it's all the same distraction. So like really for me to kind of pull out of that, like I enjoy vacuuming.
Yeah.
Because
And you're really good at it too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's something that,
Yeah.
I love doing, going through the house here. And I think that I really could fall asleep to a vacuum cleaner. I probably really could. The same thing for like washing dishes to a certain extent.
Yeah.
It's pretty mundane, and it's funny. I was listening to another podcast web show that I listened to, and they were talking about like what should we be striving for in life? What is the goal? Like they were. This one artist was talking about like the really super successful people are planning how to kind of live the days in between the big events. So like you're not living for like the big event, which could be anything. It's all the little things in between. It's like you can't live day to day, I don't think, planning this big event and this big event and that big event. It really comes down to like, well, what's in between that? Because that's the thing that you have to plan for. It's like, how are you going to live day to day? And if like the excitement, if you can get to the point where the excitement is, I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I ate, I cooked a meal for my wife, and I washed the dishes. And you know what I get to do tomorrow? I get to get up, and go buy groceries, and come back and eat another meal and wash more dishes. Like that's the key right there.
Yeah.
That's the key right there. That's what they were saying, and I kind of see the logic in that. It's like to be like really successful, you can set yourself up to where you don't have to almost do anything. It's like the power to say I can do anything I want is cool, but like you're beholden to that. It's like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. You achieved it, but like it's like let's look at the points in between.
Interesting.
The points in between. So it's not a summation of how many big things can you get. It's like what are what's the times in between?
Right.
Because like you can't take a trip every week to somewhere. I mean, unless you could, unless that's what you want to do, unless you're like a vlogger who travels.
That's
but
cool.
It all has to be just kind of like, what is your thing? So I guess what I'm saying is like
Prep time.
prep time or the times in between, because I think in general you have more of that time than like the big moment times, because the big moment times are like.
Are you kind of like saying like, okay, to put on an award-winning dance performance, which is really only 3 minutes long,
Right.
there's like 80 hours of choreography development that goes into that.
Well, there's the achievement and recognition, but like to say that everything, or to say that like you live for those moments, you very well could be. But the thing is, you don't live for those moments. You're still living through these like the big
Through the preparation
through
of
the
those
preparation,
moments.
the approach. So it's more about
I
the
see
approach.
where you're going. I see where you're going.
So
Because
it's the
I'm
approach.
about to relaunch my online course, the Fishing for Millennials and the Future of Social Media Marketing, and I have to go through a relaunch. The good news is I've already developed the product, but I have to do the prep for the relaunch, which is creating new marketing emails, creating new calendar tags, and just kind of making sure that everything
that's
is
the stuff
systematized.
you have to learn that you
I see where you're
should
going.
want to do.
I see where you're going.
Instead of what's the saying, the result is what's driving you instead of the process.
Oh, I see where you're
Right.
going.
So
Yeah. So which we do watch or listen to a lot of podcasts.
Different, yeah.
And so who are your top 3 podcasts that you've been listening to this week?
Oh, they're all artists. One is called 3 Point Perspective, which is a group of there's three artists that run this podcast, and they talk about art, how to make art, how to get good at it, how to put that out into the world. So they're like one of the top three. The other one is the show One Fantastic Week, which is about fantasy artists who talk about art and life. And then I would say a third one is probably anything by Gary Vee, because more often than not you'll hear Gary Vee blasting out of our.
We like Gary Vee a lot.
Yeah, out of our iPads or iMacs or iPhones
Right.
and whatnot.
Yeah, we listen to a lot of him. And plus, he's so good about his marketing. He's everywhere. He text messages us. He's on TikTok. He's everywhere we hang out. He's on Instagram. He's on YouTube.
Sure.
He's everywhere. And
Yeah.
so we kind of model ourselves after. I don't know if we
I don't
do
think
as
we
much as he does,
no,
but
we
like,
don't do as much
but
as he
we are
does.
inspired by and start modeling ourselves
This is
after.
good stuff to listen to in the background, especially because
Yeah.
the stuff that we do is, well, I have to back up because whenever I'm writing,
I
like if I'm
can't
writing,
listen to people
yeah.
talk or even songs with lyrics.
Right.
I can't listen to something when I'm trying to write.
For you, that's more of a where you listen
I have
to
to
them.
have instrumental music, very low, and it can't be too rhythmic because then I'll want to dance and then I'll get like distracted
yeah.
by it. So I kind of have to have that ambient music.
Yeah, when I write my comics, there's no way I
Chill.
can listen to music that has someone singing. So, but for drawing, painting,
Yeah.
graphic design, it depends. If I'm setting type, then I can't listen to or if I'm having to read from something else to gather and type and look at text, I can't listen to music like that. But podcast or listen to people talking.
While you're drawing,
Yeah.
And for me, I can't really listen to the podcasts unless we're here at the table. And okay, so I'm trying. My latest thing is So we've been doing for years is we've been watching the iPad while we're eating. And then I'm currently on Noom. It's an app that I'm using to lose some weight because I got tired of looking at myself in the mirror going, ooh, where'd that double chin come from? So I'm trying to lose the double chin and a few other things. And so Noom is like, okay, cut out the television watching while you're eating and you'll be more mindful. And I'm like, okay, Rene, we have to stop watching stuff. I mean, it was hard, right? Because I really enjoy that time. But what's been so sweet about you is that we'll have our lovely conversation, we'll eat, and then we'll watch a bit of YouTube on the iPad. And we still get our fix, right?
I think it's just a matter of
But
setting up the times.
yeah, it's just setting up the time because it's true. It's like we work. We both love what we do, and we're in different rooms. I'm in my master area here, which is pretty much in the middle of technically what would be the dining room is really where I'm parked, and then he's in his man cave. We're separated by one wall, really.
Yeah.
But still, it's like we both really appreciate that each other is working. As far as podcasts go, I would say Gary Vee for sure, and Grant Cardone. I've been listening to a lot, and Robert Kiyosaki. I think those are the three that I've been listening to the most. And Amy Porterfield, if I had to pick a fourth, because I'm really studying how to launch a digital course, how to promote it, because I love teaching. I love teaching, and I love sharing my information about what I do in marketing. I mean, it's funny. I was thinking about that. It's like, what do I love doing? And I love everything that I do. I love teaching dance with you, and I love writing content for my clients, and I love, leading my fabulous Rockstar Squad, and I love putting together these marketing classes, and it's a lot of work, but then I don't know, I just really enjoy that whole teaching process. And so up in Reading, I taught, and we did have our dance, but that was the prior week, so we got to teach dance. But then also too, I forgot, there was something else that happened this week. I was invited to be on a podcast for Ratchet and Wrench magazine, which was super nice. That's like a really, really great magazine for the auto repair industry. And we were talking about voice search. And so I was actually here doing my podcast, and I was using my Google Home to do kind of like some tests and experiments and demonstrations about voice search, which is like the new
It's
hot
up and coming.
thing. It's the new, we're in the dawn of a new era, and it will be a while before it is used by the masses, but it's going to be fascinating. And I'm already getting some phone calls, because once that podcast came out, I already got a phone call from one of my clients like, I heard your podcast, I'm intrigued,
Oh, nice.
tell me more.
I'm
So-
personally still not doing like voice, like, and to put it to you this way, like I personally don't like, don't get on the phone much. I prefer like texting, it's just me.
Yeah.
And even when the capabilities to have voice were there for the phone or like on the Macs, because I think there is a Hey Siri, you can turn that on.
Oh yeah.
You can activate that. Like, it still hasn't caught on with me.
Well-
And I think that has to do more with just my personality.
Well, also too, it makes me wonder, and this is a really interesting question because I don't have the answer to this, but I'm very fascinated if anybody else knows the answer to this, or if we'll get more of an answer as voice searches progress. But I think that I too am not really one to use this much. I really prefer typing things out. But I wonder if I don't know how to type, so if I'm a baby boomer male who has no idea how to type, perhaps the voice is the best thing for me.
I think on the phones, that's not typing. That's like
But for people who
That's
are
just
used
like,
to, but for people who are used to
it's
phone,
thumbing.
well, think of like the generations. Let's look at the different generations. You got the baby boomers, where their technologies were telephone, television, and typewriters, right? And there are a lot of male baby boomers who did not grow up learning how to do a QWERTY keyboard. They had a secretary, predominantly female, so a lot of women knew how to do a QWERTY keyboard, but a lot of baby boomer, especially this more senior of the baby boomers,
Okay, yeah.
like Joe Fletcher, one of our mentors, no typing, right? So I could see voice being very appealing to people who are blind, people who don't know how to type, and people who just would prefer to ask a question versus typing something in, right? So I could see that being a huge appeal. And I imagine that, voice over IP and the quest for that has been going on since I was working for Com21, which is a cable modem manufacturer back in like the late 1900s, really early 2000s.
1900s?
Oh, sorry, my bad. 1999 to like 2001 is when I was, sorry, my bad. Well, yeah, actually, technically it was late 1900s, right? Because it's 1999. I know that sounds so weird. It sounds weird, but anyway,
like
it was within our lifetime, right?
Yeah.
Still 20th century, just
Late
end
90s.
End of the 20th century, right? So yeah, okay. So it will be interesting. Like, okay, do the teenagers, do they tend to want to use the voice command? Like, is it an age group thing? Is it just, like,
That's a good question.
I don't know, but
I think
it's just going to be
the-
fascinating
I
to
think
see.
it's the tools that are changing us as
Well,
far as how we interact.
Yeah, the tools are changing
Yeah,
us.
because you're going from like an IBM, that was a monster of a
Oh yeah, it took
computer,
up an entire floor.
to like,
of a
smaller
of a
and smaller
building.
and smaller, to where like I have to admit, like, I'm not the best when it comes to texting, because I have to, have typos in terms of like when I think I hit a K, it's like I'm hitting an L. So, on top of the phones now going no buttons at all, I didn't have nearly as many typos when there was actually buttons.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Now
When
with
there's,
the screen.
I prefer the touch screens. Though.
No,
I don't like the buttons.
The buttons that's definitely, passe. Yes, I'm not saying I want to bring it back, but like, it's gonna get to a point where like I wonder if like these devices are even gonna have like that interface to where you're typing, where most apps are
Or
gonna
will it
be
be
built.
spoken?
Will be spoken. That's what I'm saying.
Well, also too, like, okay, I remembered.
Like your watch, there's no keyboard on there.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, there is.
Actually, no. I'm sorry. I can write
You can write
with my
correct.
finger. Yeah.
How many people are going to be writing
Well,
moving
you know, or
forward
you
now?
could speak into it, but I do. I'll write something.
Okay, all right.
Because that's my comfort zone. I like writing. But also too, okay, I remembered it was around Christmas time last year, and my mother got Grandma Marilyn a GPS to put into her Lincoln. And I don't remember which brand it was, but it was, you know, a portable GPS system. And what was interesting is that my dad, who was quite the technophile back in the day, I wouldn't say my dad is as up on technology as he used to be, but back in the day, he used to be quite the technophile. So anyway, he taught my mother how to program this thing, and he did it through voice. But my mother is trying to take what she learned from my dad, and now she's trying to teach my grandmother. So it's kind of like that game of telephone, where somebody tells you something, and then you kind of get the message garbled, and then by the time it gets to the third person, it's kind of a crapshoot.
Oh, yeah.
So what was interesting was, and I don't even think you were there. I think this was you were at
This may
you
have
were.
been a...
So anyway, it was funny because I was like, okay, well, where's the manual? And this thing didn't come with a manual, so the manual was online. So that was like something that was, again, 21st century, not 20th century, because the older people want to see a manual, and there is no manual. So I'm like, okay, let's go online and see the manual, because she was having such a dickens of a time trying to do the voice command, trying to get it set up. And I was like, there has to be a better way. There has to be a QWERTY keyboard on here somewhere. I just got to find it. So I pulled up my computer and I found the online manual, and I went and I found the keyboard so we could type things in. And my mother's like, how did you find that? I was like, well, I looked it up. She goes, I thought it was only voice, because like she only knows that it's, oh, I know what it is. They have the same system in their vehicle. That's right. They ended up buying the identical system for Grandma that they had. And so Daddy teaches her how to use the voice. She struggles through it. She has no idea that there's a touchscreen keyboard option on this thing that you have to activate. And then she's familiar with this product. She's super feeling authoritative on how this thing is working. And I'm like, no, there's a better way. And she's like, no, there isn't. And then she's like, oh my gosh, how'd you find that? So I wonder if, like, you know, is voice the default option on several things, because they know that getting to the QWERTY keyboard is like a little too tough. Like we're sorry that we're asking these questions, just that I just genuinely don't know the answer, because this isn't something I play around with all the time. But I was also thinking of something else that I don't know much about, that I am very fascinated by, and I'm wanting to do it, but I'm intimidated by it. I will admit I'm intimidated by it. Tesla vehicles. So our neighbor across the street, Armand, he has a Porsche Boxster that he rents out on Turo. It's an app, Turo. And this app allows people to rent his Porsche from him. And I think that was so clever. Like, he's got this car payment. Why not make the car payment, because he's got a company car? Why not have other people rent out his car, because he's driving the company car? It's just sitting there. Make it an asset that pays for itself. Brilliant, right? And so now I'm turned on to Turo. So like, we're about to go to Florida next month, and I want to like check out like, what vehicles, like, is it cheaper for me to rent from Turo versus, you know, Enterprise or Hertz or whatever? And I was finding out that we could rent a Maserati for an affordable rate, or a Jaguar for an affordable rate. I was like, dang.
I think cars trip her trigger more than they do me.
They do. I'm a car girl. I work in the auto repair world. I mean, I do have a thing for cars.
But get me into a comic book shop and then, like, you know, boing. Yeah.
But I do see a lot of Teslas available on Turo for rent, and I would love to drive a Tesla. Like, we have friends that have Teslas. I've just never been inside one, and I've certainly never driven one. And I really want to, but like, to rent somebody else's car, and I don't know how to drive it yet, like, ugh, that scares me. I don't want to start new on something that is a rental. I would rather go to a Tesla showroom or whatever they do. Because, like, do they have Tesla? I mean, I'm sure that's a dumb question. Like, of course they have Tesla showrooms. But you know what I mean? Like, they're a very unusual business model. And so where do you go and test drive a Tesla? I don't know. But now I have to put that on my bucket list for 2020. Mark my words, I'm going to drive a Tesla at some point in the year of 2020.
Well, there you go.
Because I'm so curious, especially since it is in the car world. And a lot of my auto repair
For
shops,
you, yeah, most definitely.
they haven't gotten into Tesla yet because Tesla is still a very protected, walled garden of auto repair. Your local auto repair shop is not performing Tesla services. Although Teslas still have brakes and they still need tires and they still need body work. But you know what I mean? So I want to stay up on the technology and have an excuse to
Good,
drive
yeah,
a
you
hot
should
car.
do it. Yeah, it only would benefit you in terms of, especially for your
Especially
business.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, for what you do. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was pretty much like our week in terms of what we did, travel-wise. Which for me, normally I don't travel with Jen, but it was fun to do it. It was a long
And I was
drive.
so grateful to have you there. He's the best DJ and the best navigator.
Oh yeah.
So
I got to
having
play
him
my
on a road
phone-
trip.
my iPhone, on my music list, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, his music list is really good.
Yeah. Well, I try.
Yeah.
But yeah, that drive, I would not want to make it on my own. It's a long drive. It helps to have someone, talk to or play music or even take over
Yeah.
for once in a while.
And I'm sure there are a lot of people that do long drives all the time. Truckers, professional drivers. I have such mad respect for you because you know what? I get really tired. I think 3 hours is my personal ideal time in the car, max. And then I need to be out of the car. I was feeling like that car, even though I love my Mini Cooper Countryman, I love driving my car. But after hour 14 in my car, I felt like I was in a wheeled prison. Because I need to move. I need to I can't, and I was just getting, I was just so tired. But the traffic was lovely. I mean, there was no problem with traffic per se. It was just, I can't. And I worry about my safety.
It was smooth. It's just the time.
Yeah.
In the chair. In the seats.
Time in the seats.
The time in the seats was.
And it's funny, right? Because
long time.
it's not easy for us to fly there because it's not exactly
We found out. I saw signs that there was an airport
Sacramento.
But there is one actually in Redding, I think, or Chico. You have to forgive me. It's one of those, but it's not open to public.
It's not commercial
It's not
flights.
commercial.
It's private.
It's private. Something. Yeah.
Yeah. So private planes. So I don't know. So maybe the answer is eventually one of these days
Sacramento fly.
we learn how to fly a private plane so we can just fly in to wherever we're going. Because let me tell you, the drive is long, and then going through TSA and doing the whole commercial flight stuff. Although I gotta say, you know what? I'm probably not a good candidate for private pilot, and I'll tell you why. Because that's a lot of responsibility and a lot of endurance. And if I'm just good for 3 hours in a car, I probably won't be very good in a plane.
I think as a pilot, you're on the
you
moment
have
you
to be
step on the
on.
plane.
Yeah.
And the moment you get
Never
off.
mind. I can fantasize though. Maybe
That's why there's people who love flying.
I'll
love to
meet
pilot.
somebody who wants to be our private pilot. Wouldn't that be fun? Big goals, big dreams, big goals. Let's find a private pilot with a plane that's affordable. And we can go fly places so I don't have to drive.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
And even if we were to fly from Monterey to Sacramento, we still have to do a layover somewhere like Phoenix or San Francisco. And when that happens, it's we'll just get in the car and just drive, right? So anyway, so that's about it, huh?
I think that's it. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed the tour of our home or our workspace, place where we play, where we live.
Yeah, and it's great renting here. You know what? A lot of people ask us, how do you afford it? Oh, honey, we rent. There's no way we could afford to buy this place.
Rent, baby.
And then also too, the property taxes and the maintenance, and this is an old duplex, and it needs a lot of tender loving care. So we're happy to rent and own rental properties in Florida. So that's all good. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. It's great hanging out with you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.